Hey everyone, and welcome to my craft room. Thanks for joining me today. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Just bear with me for a minute while I catch up my iPad so I can watch myself. Not that I want to watch myself, but sometimes it's helpful. Make sure everything's working. Come on. Okay, here we go. Make sure the sound is on. Yep, no, that seems to be working. Okay, so we've got a couple jumping on already. Hi Jenny, hi Hannah. I've just got to share with someone who has trouble finding me sometimes, so bear with me. And I'll do that, and then we should be right to go. Very exciting day at the moment. Those of you who join me who are Stampin' Up demonstrators probably are just as excited as me. Haven't been able to concentrate on my day job all day. Basically been thinking about all the new products and how we're going to share them with each other and our customers. So here is the catalogue. As you can see, mine's got some wish list happening already. I popped a huge for me, order in today, so I'm waiting for that with lots of new goodies as well. So new catalogue time is a good time for new products, new wonderful tools and new products. It's also a good time to revisit the older products that we had from last catalogue that we've been fortunate enough to have them pop up again in this catalogue, so which means they must have been quite popular and really loved, so that they've carried them on in the next one. And one of my favourites that's actually carried on from last catalogue to this catalogue is the Peaceful Poppies suite. And that's what I'm going to be looking at today, and I'm going to try and sort of just shake it up a little bit to the stuff that we would normally do with this set. My dog's just started barking, so she must have seen somebody in the kitchen with their food. She often does. Anyway, so as I say, the Peaceful Poppies suite is joining us again for the 2021. And if we're going to get the most of it, we probably should have some great new ideas how to use it and use it in a different way. So I have to admit that this die set, these Poppy Moments die set, was in my pile of shame for the longest of times. I used the stamps a lot, I used the sentiments a lot, but this particular Poppy Moments one, I just found it a bit intimidating, I suppose, so I didn't actually touch it for the longest time. So the last couple of projects I've done, I've made a conscious effort to bring it out and try and do something different with it. We actually, I just had a card party with my little group that I have, and we made this one in the card party, so that turned out really well. So I'm actually thinking that I'd like to get a bit more of use out of this one in the current catalogue period. And now my phone's ringing, so everything's going all at once. So this little card here, I'm actually thinking of sending the kit to make this little card, so all the bits and pieces you need to make this little card. I'm actually thinking of making it a customer gift for the month of June. So if you buy from me during June and you don't use any other offer, and now the garbage man's coming by. Probably 1 o'clock wasn't a great time for me to do anything today because it's just become really noisy here. Anyway, so if you buy from me in June, doesn't matter the amount, as long as I get your address with the order, I'll pop you the card kit to make this little card in the mail just as a little thank you. So watch out for that. Anyway, I'm answering some comments here. Hi Kay and Elizabeth. Are you looking at me, Elizabeth? That's probably good. My dear friend Elizabeth. Anyway, so let's have a go. I'm going to be making this card. I've been hiding it from you long enough. This little card here, it's a slightly different colour combination that I would normally use with the Poppy Moments die set. So it's actually shades of yellow, whereas poppies are usually red, sort of pink colours. So I thought we'd go a little bit different there. And I've put them in this sort of floating frame sort of setup so that they just look a little bit showcased there. Hey Sally, thanks for joining me. Yeah, and Sharon too. I see Sharon as well. So hi guys. Okay, so it's got various. It's got the same die cut, but I've cut 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the colours I've used are So Saffron for 2, Crushed Curry for 2, and Daffodil Delight for the middle one. So you basically need 2 in a darker colour, darker shade, two in a lighter shade and one in a medium sort of shade. So if you're going to move to pinks, you maybe would use Flirty Flamingo for the dark one, Petal Pink for the light one, and maybe Blushing Bride for the sort of middle coloured one. So anyway, just that's particularly Stamping Up colours, but you know what I mean, sort of those sorts of contrasts is what you're after. I've also put some of the leaves from the set in there as well, and I've done one in vellum and one in Pear Pizzazz, and I'm also using the sentiment from the set as well. So there we are, that's what we're going to be making today. So let's get started. So what I've actually got, and I've got it all cut so you don't have to watch me cut, which is exceptionally boring, is I've got a card base from Whisper White Thick, and that's my usual size card base, which is 8 1/4 by 5 3/4 and scored in the middle, so just give a normal card base. Then I've got a couple of different pieces of Whisper White. I'm going to actually give this like a multi-layer sort of look. I've got a layer of Whisper White, which is just going to go straight on the card base, but it's just going to give us a tiny little border around the edge, and that's 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base. And then I've got a frame that I have made from also very Whisper White, and it is using these stitched rectangles. So you could actually just use this with your trimmer and trim out the size you want, but it uses the largest stitched rectangle for the outside, and then 2 sizes down, so the first largest and the third largest, to cut out a bit in the middle. So that basically gives us a little frame there, which is going to frame our poppies. And I've got a piece of white cardstock, which is basically the same as the outside of our frame, and you'll see why I've got that in a minute. And I think I worked that out was basically 5 1/4 by 3 7/8, which is basically the size there. So it's 10 centimetres by say about 13 1/2. But it just roughly has to be the same size as the outside of your frame. We're going to be actually using that one first. So here I have my poppies, and I've cut them all out already, and I've glued most of them, but I just thought I'd glue the last one and show you how that happens. I've got various leaves as well. So as I mentioned, I've got 2 excuse me, I've got 2 in So Saffron, so a lighter colour. I've got 2 in a darker colour, I'm just going to glue that last one, and 1 in Daffodil, which is going to be our middle focal point there. So I'll just glue this last one, and this is very sort of fine, this sorry, I'm going to have a proper cough. It's very fine, some of this dye, so really all I do is pop some glue on the centre where there's a fair bit of cardstock, and then maybe a drop, just a tiny drop, on some of the larger surfaces. So there's a couple there that look quite large, and just leave the rest, because otherwise I get glue everywhere. If you're better with glue, I'm sure you could pop more glue on it than that, but I tend to steer away from glue as much as I possibly can. And then you line it up with the outline die here, and just pop it down and move it slightly into place. Okay, I should show you, that's very slack of me for people who haven't seen this die set. It basically has a big poppy, which has got an outline and a detail, which is the one we're using today. It's got a smaller poppy, which is sort of in profile, which has got the same thing, an outline and a detail. And then it's got sort of various insides of the poppies, so there's an inner for the small poppy and an inner for the large poppy. Then there's some various leaves, which are the ones we're using today, and a little bud one, which was quite cute, so you sort of can pop your poppy bud there, so he's just about to bloom, and other detail as well. So it's a really good value die, and as I say, I'm going to try and get a bit more use of it this year round, so it doesn't sit in the pile of shame for too much longer. Okay, so we've got our poppy mostly made. Then we've got the little black. I've made the inner black cardstock. I'm just going to pop that in the centre. Doesn't matter which way. Well, I don't think it matters which way it looks, that centre, because it's got that sort of smiley face there. Just whatever way, doesn't really matter. Make it random, and then your poppies won't look so uniform on your card. they'll look a bit more natural. Okay, so that one's ready as well. So we've got our 2 crushed curry, our 2 So Saffron, and our 1 Daffodil Delight. Okay, so I'm going to pop, don't know why I'm putting my glue away, I'm going to pop them on the card now, and I'm going to try and rotate them, and so that they all look like they're in slightly different angles, just so that they look a bit more natural. So keeping in mind, you are going to overlap them somewhat, so don't put glue on all of them, because you on the whole back, because you're going to end up sticking yourself to your table. So just sort of decide which angle you want, and just pop the glue on the part that needs the glue to stick to the cardstock. So this one I'm going to have it sort of mostly there, the bottom part of it on the cardstock. So I've just put glue on the bottom part. So as you can see, it'll be there like that. And then I'm going to pop the other one down here on this corner. So remember, we're going to have our frame there, so don't go too high up, sort of stick towards the centre, because you don't want to lose too much of your beautiful sunflower underneath the frame. I'm going to pop this one down here. And again, sort of rotating them so they look a little bit different to each other. Then I'm going to bring this one, I'm going to put him sort of like this. So he's going to be mostly, the left hand side of him is going to be on the cardstock, so pop the glue on the left hand side. There we go. And the other one down here as well. So he's going to be, I'm going to pop him sort of like that, I reckon. So again, the glue on one side more than the other. There we are. Okay, so that's okay. I might move him up a little bit. The good thing with the glue, as we know, you've got a little bit of wriggle room to get them exactly where you want them. Okay, so there we go. So those are on there, and don't worry, they do overlap, and I realise that, and we're going to trim that off very soon. So we'll actually bring our frame in now. So this is our little frame that we made, as I say, with the largest of our stitched rectangles and the 3rd size. And I'm going to pop that over the top of our poppies, just like that. So as you can see, that's why I've cut the cardboard, the bottom layer of cardstock the right size, so I can use it as a bit of a guide. I'm actually going to stick this onto my poppies with double-sided tape or tear-in tape, just because I think it sticks better to those sort of really uneven surfaces. Hey Linda and hey Lisa, thanks for joining me. So I'm just popping double-sided tape on each of those frame edges, sides. And just watching there's a couple of people who watch me regularly who work in the same company as me, and I'm just watching for them to pop on, because if they do, I'm going to have to make some excuse as to why I'm not at work at the moment, because as I said in the title, this is a sneaky lunchtime crafting, so I should actually be finishing my lunch and going back to work. But hey, it's new catalogue day, it's special. So anyway, there we go. I'm going to pop that frame. I'm going to sort of line it up with the backing cardstock that I have cut to the right size, and just gently firm that down. Okay, so now what we need to do is cut those edges off so that our poppies end at the edge of our frame. And to do that, I'm going to use my trimmer, if I can find it. Trimmer. Oh, here it is. I'm going to use my trimmer. And I'm just going to, you can use your paper, your normal paper trimmer if you don't have a little guillotine like this, but the guillotine is pretty good. It doesn't want to cooperate. She says it's pretty good for lining these edges up. Just forgive that noise. It doesn't usually make that sort of noise. It must be struggling with the layers of cardstock I've got happening here. Just take my glasses off so I can see. just lining that up with the edges of our frame. And no, he doesn't want to go. As much as saying it handles it well, it doesn't want to do that. It's just too much cardstock for it. Bear with me, I'll bring back my paper trimmer. I know that that's going to cope. So just lining it up and trimming off. Oh dear. Just that little bit there. Doesn't want to cooperate. There we are, we've got it. Okay, so this one here, just lining it up, and oops, trim it down. There we are, that's better. Beautiful. And just the last one, there's a tiny bit poking out there, so I'll just line that up and trim that off as well. Okay, so there we are. We have our frame with our beautiful poppies peeking out from inside. Yes, it had too many layers, definitely. You can only ask so much from a little mini guillotine. Okay, so here we go. So that's done mostly. So what I'm going to do now is I might finish off this before I layer up on the card. I've got my Daffodil Delight, the last one, and I'm going to pop that just smack bang in the centre there, and I'm going to give it a little bit more volume, a bit more height with some dimensionals. There we go, just 4 dimensionals there. And just pop that just at a sort of an angle different to the rest of them, just in the centre there. So there we are, so that's mostly done there. Okay, so we'll bring in some of these beautiful leaves now. So as I say, I've cut some of the leaves from the set in vellum and some in pear pizzazz. So I'm going to just sort of pair them up with each other, slightly off centre, and then pop them in underneath that top poppy. Because they're quite long, I'm going to actually trim off the bottom section of each of them. And you could actually use those leaves that you trim off to actually add some more foliage to your card. But I'm just going to add the 2. So I'm just going to glue them firstly a little bit together with some glue. So just like that. Thank you, Lisa. And then just add a little bit of glue to the back one and snake that, so I hopefully don't hit a dimensional. Well, I have, I can feel it. Snake that up underneath there. I'll have one set of leaves popping up there to the top left, and I'll do the same with these ones. I'm going to just trim them off like that and glue them together just like that. Oops. And then just a tiny bit more and pop it. I'm going to bring that in up from that side there. There we are. Okay, so we've got, that's really, really nice, really pretty, I think. Hopefully you'll like that. Then what I'm going to do is just layer it up now, and I've got the sort of slightly larger piece of cardstock and then the larger piece as well. I was going to put this onto dimensionals as well, but because it's so thick, I don't think it actually needs it. I think it's basically its own dimensional. It's got some nice thickness there. But I will layer up the first panel of Whisper White. Just like that. So as I say, we're going to get like a 3-layered effect, which I'm quite liking at the moment. And then with some more glue, just this panel here. Just get that into the right spot. The same top, bottom sides. There we go. He doesn't want to stay down. Okay, just wiggle that a little bit. It was a little bit uneven. Okay, so we've got that there. So that's quite pretty, I think. Okay. So finally our sentiment. Last couple of cards I haven't done sentiments for, but I think I will with this one. So I've got a just under 3/4 of an inch wide piece of white cardstock here, and I'm going to stamp it with the thank you stamp from the Peaceful Moments. So we're sticking to the same card set, stamp set, bundle, I mean, and I'm going to just put that there. There we are. Now I'm going to use something new from the new catalogue, which has just been introduced, and this is the multi-punch. And I'll just have a look at it in the catalogue because it's the first time I've used it, so I can't remember what they actually call it. Punches. Somebody here will remind me, I'm sure. Punches 165. It's called the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. Okay, so it's basically, and I'll bring that closer to the camera so you can see. Hopefully you're in the right spot there. It's actually 6 punches in one. Yeah, you can see that. So you've got 2 different designs and 3 different sizes. So you can basically have a very broad one, which is about 1 inch wide, the middle one, which is about 3/4 of an inch wide, which is what I'm using here, and a narrow one as well, which is about 1/2 inch wide. And you can get different ornate ends to those. So that's a really handy punch to have, just for something a bit different. So I'm going to use, doesn't really matter, they're both pretty. I might use this one this time, so I'm going to use the middle size of this end one here. I think I've probably left far too much on there, so I'll just snip it back a bit. Pop it in the punch. I always like to turn it over, see it come up and through, and punch. And as you can see there, we've got a really nice ornate end to our sentiment there. Then basically I'm going to try and trim it off to the same length at the other end and feed it through again. Oh, that's not quite even. What have you done, Julianne? That's better. Okay, so there we are. Quick and easy, a nice sort of ornate sentiment box. So yes, I really suggest that punch would be very, very handy for lots of uses in the craft room. So I'm going to use that there. I'm going to basically just pop it onto our card just at the front. So half of it on our main poppy there and half of it onto the frame. So the half of it that's on the frame is going to need a dimensional just to give it the same height, and the other end, which is not on the card, which is on the poppy, will just need some glue, just so it's nice and even. And I'm going to pop it just about, not too high, just about there. Just make sure it's even. And there we go. And of course we need some bling. So what card wouldn't be complete without some bling? So I've got the Rhinestone Basic Jewels here. And I'm just going to get a nice big one and say pop it down in here. And then a middle size one up in, roughly around there. And a baby tiny one just in there. And I think that would probably be it. Okay, so that's my card for today. I hope you really like that. As I say, new catalogue time is a good time to revisit our favourites that have come into the new year with us, and this is my attempt at one of the poppy cards. So yeah, different to anything I have tried in the last 12 months. Hopefully you guys like that, and give it a try yourself. Pop something on my page and see what you come up with. But yes, the frame is really, really nice. I quite like that sort of effect. As you can see, I've been using it a lot lately. Where's my original? Here it is. Okay, so, sorry I just bumped everything. So there are our 2 cards, or my 1 card for today. I better knock off and go back to my day job that pays the bills, and earn some more money so I can put in some big orders. Anyway, hope you like that one. If you have any questions about the new catalogue, if you'd like a new catalogue, please send me a message and I can arrange for you to get one. Everything in the catalogue is, well, most things in the catalogue are available today. There are some exceptions, so I wouldn't want to say everything is available today, but most things are available today, including some old favourites who are back with us for another year. So anyway, if you live in Australia and don't have a demonstrator, please contact me. I'd love to help you out with any orders or questions that you have. And as I say, if you'd like a catalogue, drop me a line as well. Happy to help you out with that. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch everyone again for my usual video on Friday when I don't have to rush around so much because it's my crafting day. Okay, so I'll talk to you all later. Have a great afternoon.